elevated pigeon stretch. So this is a really great way to help open up your hips a little bit, get into your glutes, your hamstrings, without putting all of your body weight on the ground. And let's be real, the ground can be a little bit cruel if you don't have a thick yoga mat, or if you don't have a nice flooring underneath, if you don't have carpet, if you're on concrete, it's not going to feel as nice. And if you are really, really tight in your hips, this is going to be a great way to start to progress to getting you down to the ground. So you're going to find yourself an elevated surface. I have a workout bench here, but you can use a coffee table. You can use the arm on your couch. That might feel really nice because it's going to be a little bit higher even. You can use a kitchen chair, especially a bar stool would feel nice. Something that's not going to slide around on you, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to plant the outside of your leg so that you're going to have the bottom of your foot facing outward like I am towards you. And you're going to get your knee onto that bench. So you'll notice that I have to step back. Again, this is a little bit low for what we're trying to work with. Know yourself best. If your hips are really tight, you're going to need to get a little bit higher, which is where that couch arm is going to be more valuable for you, okay? You can even do this on your stairs. So you're up 2 or 3 stairs with that top leg and your back leg is reaching down towards the ground. Bendy's coming up for a visit. So right here, what we're focusing on is opening up this back glute or this back hip. Be very mindful that naturally your body's going to want to drop your hips out. So that's part of the elevation, is that normally when you're on the floor, your hips are going to drop to this side. When you're elevated, it makes it really hard to do that. So you're going to be sitting up, nice squared hips. Now that back leg might feel really tight in the hamstring. So what I want you to do is you might be able to bend your knee a little bit and lean into this front leg a little bit more. If that hamstring is really tight, ideally we're going to have that locked out so you get that full stretch out of your hamstring and out of your hip here. This is where I can start to feel it into my outer glute. But again, I'm not super tight in my hips, so I'm more often than not on the floor doing this version. But if you're really tight, feel free to bend your knee and open up, lock out, and drive through that back heel, come back in and back down. But what I want you to focus on while you're here is watching that you're not rounding through your back doing this version. You're going to lose out on a lot of your stretch by closing off your chest. You're going to notice that your tailbone tucks in, so now you're rounded through the spine, which defeats the purpose of that outer glute stretch, right? Because now if you think about it, everything's tucked in, and what we're trying to do is open up and extend and expand through the muscle mass. So I want you to keep that nice open hip and think about wide collarbones. That if you need to lean in, great, but notice that it's not here. We're thinking tits out, wide collarbones, and breathing into that outer hip. Now again, this is going to be a stretch that when you're stretching, we're trying to hold it for a long period of time. If you're moving in and out every 5 to 10 seconds, you're not going to get the benefit of the stretch. So I want you to try to sit here for at least, I'll have seconds timed for you, but if you're not doing the timing with me today, at least minimum, bare minimum of 45 seconds, ideally 1 minute to 90 seconds is what you're going to do staying here. And then of course, what we do to one side, we must do to the other. So grab onto whatever you need to. Might feel good just to push off that item. And then swap out other side, same thing. Trying to get that leg up and sit down into it, open up through that outer glute, all right? Now I know Bindi was in the way for that swap out, but I think you get the idea of where your leg needs to be. And making sure that, again, your hips aren't dropping out. You're gonna feel that shift in your pelvis. Try to keep your pubic bone and your hip flexors or your hip bones in front of your pelvis pointing straight forward like they're headlights, right? The headlights on your vehicle are not pointing in different directions. They're pointing straight ahead so that you can see down the highway. That's what I want you to think about when you're in this position for your pelvis. This, my friends, is your elevated pigeon stretch.